Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. What's Large Program doing in the AEW zone? The Big Show revealed he's got plenty more heel and face turns in him yesterday when AEW shockingly announced they had signed Paul Wight, aka The Big Show, to a long-term deal, which the press release described as having an extensive role in the company, which will involve him providing commentary for their new YouTube show on Monday nights, AEW Dark Elevation, alongside Tony Schiavone, because that's exactly what I wanted from Dark, for it to be longer, and also a return to the ring. Man, he really wants to wrestle Shaq. Dave Meltzer confirmed this, tweeting, "Show will wrestle some," and Mick Foley agreed, saying that Show still had some gas left in the tank, and congratulated his friend Paul Wight for signing with AEW Enforcey Beth, which is the wrong AEW tag. According to Foley's tweet, Big Show has signed with Scottish National Party candidate Annabelle Ewing, who's also followed by former ECW original Just Incredible. Do you think he's sending her DMs to get booked on Dynamite? Meanwhile, AEW star Trent looked forward to bullying Big Show, simply tweeting, "Gonna haze him." But why did Big Show suddenly leave WWE? Show was prominently featured on Raw last year, technically main eventing WrestleMania, being part of the Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre title feud, and even showing up at January 4th's Legends Night special. But according to PW Insider, Show was openly unhappy backstage at that taping, as he wasn't able to come to terms financially on a new WWE deal. Fightful Select have added that while higher-ups in WWE found out Show would be leaving this month, most of the WWE talent that we spoke with had no idea of the Big Show leaving, and said there wasn't a chorus of goodbyes that they recalled. The AEW roster were just as surprised, although very excited. One source close to Wight told Fightful he'd had a series of major life events over the past few months, between selling his house, his WWE deal expiring, and his Netflix show being cancelled, and they felt a major career move was going to happen. Just the previous day, Tony Khan told Wrestling Observer Live there would be old and new faces turning up on Dynamite very soon, which will shake up the landscape of All Elite Wrestling. I thought that meant there are many working relationships with Impact and New Japan, but now with Big Show jumping ship, it kind of feels like anyone could now suddenly leave WWE for AEW. Who do you think could be next to defect? Let me know in the comments down below, where I'll be replying to people from out of nowhere saying, "Vince McMahon to AEW confirmed." Or maybe former Bullet Club and Elite member Marty Scurll, who Fightful Select is reporting was present for the most recent tapings of New Japan Strong, and has shown interest in working with the company again. Emily Pratt of Fanbyte then confirmed with a source that Scurll appeared in an on-screen role during an angle with Rocky Romero, but the source didn't seem pleased about the appearance, stating, "I thought we were going to be the company that wasn't booking these guys to get some buzz. They're going to get buzz all right, but probably not the kind they're looking for. And it just reeks of letting things slide because these people are all friends or whatever." Scurll last worked for New Japan in June 2019 in the Best of the Super Juniors tournament, and is a former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, but had allegations made against him in last year's Speaking Out movement. Ring of Honor released him from a reportedly huge contract last month. Speaking of the Bullet Club, another former member in Adam Cole completely broke up his Undisputed Era faction in NXT, also now turning on Roderick Strong too. Kyle O'Reilly will be out for 4 to 6 weeks after Cole brutally beat him up so well, many fans and other NXT wrestlers were convinced he'd been injured for real. But as it's Thursday, you know what that means. My review of last night's AEW Dynamite in about 5 minutes. On paper, sandwiched between the recent Omega vs Moxley main events and next week's Shaq vs Cody episode, this week's Dynamite seemed like, well, just an average show. But as always is the way with AEW, well, well, it turned out to be a bloody fantastic show. The episode opened with Jon Moxley squashing Ryan Nemeth in a fun back and forth few minutes, and then cutting a promo on Omega, sitting backwards on a chair, boy band style, saying he knows the exploding barbed wire deathmatch he agreed to last week is a trap, but he's addicted to violence and he can't resist it. It was a great promo, it gave me tingles, and it's also a neat mirror of Eddie Kingston's line the previous week where he admitted he's addicted to Mox. This seemed to be setting the stage for Moxley taking time off from AEW, as he said the deathmatch would be a hell of a way to go out. Kenny Omega, meanwhile, has become a coked-up mad scientist, where Alex Marvez found him working in a metal shop on electrified weapons. Coked-up mad scientist Omega is now the best Omega. Team Taz's Brian Cage and Ricky Starks took on the Varsity Blondes of Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison next in another great enhancement match that somehow also gets over the guys who are doing the job. Cage won with the drill claw, which is such a cool move, but this was all about what came next. The lights cut out and a black and white film played of Darby Allin sitting up out of his body bag totally fine. He even smiled. You're no emo. You can feel joy! Sting then walked out on stage with a body bag, but in a great bit of misdirection, it wasn't Darby inside, it was Taz's beaten up son Hook, because Allin was sailing down on a frickin' zipline. Darby and Sting took out everyone, with Sting even hitting a Stinger Splash and Scorpion Death Drop on Cage. This storyline has been repetitive, and it has overexposed Sting, but this angle 10 days from the match has made me really excited. Speaking of repetitive storylines, the best man versus best friends feud is still going on. Miro, Kip and Penelope did a sit-down interview with Tony Schiavone where they were challenged to a tag match at Revolution. Miro then ate the piece of paper it was written on, which presumably means he accepted. Miro crush. Miro eat paper. Jake Hager then threw Brandon Cutler around a lot. It was another entertaining enhancement match to set up the following pay-per-view building angle. The Inner Circle ran down to beat up Cutler, so the Bucks saved their childhood friend. But then MJF and Chris Jericho appeared on the Tron with Matt and Nick's blooded dad, Old Buck. They threw him into the production truck we'd seen him pose alongside for some family photos earlier on, smearing his blood on both Matt and Nick's pictures. It was some great symbolism and a solid 80s way to add an extra layer of blood feud to their match. In another masterpiece of booking, AEW has taken Hangman Page versus Matt Hardy on pay-per-view, which I was hardly interested in last month, and turned it into probably my most anticipated match of the show on a show that has an exploding barbed wire death match on. In addition to the fun big money stakes, Hardy went full on supervillain here, throwing Alan Angels through a table off the stage and vowing to hurt every single member of the Dark Order Page loves so much. Before that angle though came a great bout between Page and Isaiah Cassidy, where Cassidy brutally targeted Hangman's arm. It was an incredibly effective way to create a dramatic competitive match right now, while also putting Page at a big disadvantage going into Revolution. Page's selling was otherworldly, where he adjusted his offense on the fly as his arm wouldn't work, eventually winning with a one-arm Deadeye. Nyla Rose then beat Britt Baker in another great TV match to advance to the US Finals of the Women's Eliminator Tournament. The first half was full of heel spots from Reba and an exposed top turnbuckle, but it really worked in making the final sequence of Beast Bomb kickouts really exciting. Unfortunately, I do have an undertone of frustration about this again, as AEW is putting the other US semi-final of Rio vs Thunder Rosa on a Sunday BR special stream, which really deserves to be on Dynamite. FTR and Jurassic Express both put over Tully Blanchard, a man who hasn't wrestled since 1989, ahead of their six-man next week. If all goes well, expect him to be challenging for the WWE title early next year. A Casino Tag Team Battle Royal was announced for Revolution, and the main event was one of the best Dynamite matches of the year. Lance Archer versus Rey Fenix, with the winner qualifying for the Face of the Revolution ladder match next Sunday. This was just 15 minutes of mad action. Phoenix diving into the crowd, Phoenix diving over Jake the Snake, Phoenix doing a tightrope run PK, Phoenix hitting a top rope Spanish fly. It should always be Phoenix. And Archer was no slouch either, being just the right amount of monster to make you believe Phoenix had a chance. Ultimately though, he didn't, with a just head tucked in time blackout for Lance to win, where he picked up Ray's limp body for a respectful fist bump afterwards. What did you think of this episode of Dynamite? Let me know in the comments down below and vote in our poll on a poll match on the community tab, where 76% of you voted for, well, where was the Big Show? There was no Big Show appearance on the episode, with his signing just mentioned on commentary, and then confirmation that his AEW Dark Elevation show would begin on YouTube from Monday the 15th of March. I can see the argument that if Show wasn't going to be on this episode, why announce his signing on the day in advance at the expense of a surprise debut? And I probably would have agreed with you if this Dynamite wasn't so much fun. Come for the Big Show news, stay for the excellent wrestling, storylines, and characters. And surely Big Show will be involved in next week's Cody vs. Shaq match. This week's Dynamite was a cracking 4 out of 5. What does AEW have planned for the Big Show though? Watch today's WrestleTalk podcast by clicking the video on the right, where Luke and I discuss what we want to see from Paul Wight. And the Miz's Backstage heat has been revealed. Click the video below that to find out more in the WrestleTalk news. I've been Mr. Davis. Jam that jam.